The year.
Thinking. Good thinking. Thinking with the brain.
Yes. All right, let's go.
Okay.
It's E.T. 1982.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The hesitation after you had just read it.
Prefaces we always do.
Prefaces we always do. I'm just going to keep holding this. Prefaces we always do, but I'm not going to keep holding it.
I've never seen this movie in my life, ever, at all. I've known weird facts about it, never watched it. This is my first time watching it.
I've seen this movie before, and I've even taught it once or twice, so I guess I know things about it. Mm-hmm. I don't know who needs a recap of what this movie is about. If you don't know what E.T. is about, like, I'm sorry.
It's kind of in the name. It's kind of the name of the movie.
So,
this movie's weird.
Mm-hmm. This movie is beloved by almost all, for some reason or another.
Yep.
Like, everyone enjoys this film.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone, for the most part, knows the reference for the film.
Mm-hmm.
Even really young folks normally know this one.
Someone who's never seen the movie knows all the references.
Yeah.
Like, it's just one of those pop culture movies, you know? Like one of those big staples.
We could start with the nostalgia aspect, which I think is the reason that everyone likes this movie. Because of nostalgia.
Mm-hmm.
I think people liked this movie when it came out because it felt nostalgic at the time that it was depicting itself.
I've never seen this movie, and I watched it, and I felt nostalgic for, one, a time I never lived in, and two, a movie I didn't really like.
So, I think that's why everyone likes it.
I think that's why everyone likes it.
And I got nothing else to say about that other than that's what it is. The set props and stuff.
Yeah.
They try really hard to make it the 80s.
To make it feel lived in the 80s.
Yeah.
And it's pretty dang good.
That kid's bedroom looks as like a wreck as a kid's bedroom should be. The mom's downstairs is nice, but it's knick-knacky and there's things going on and it feels right.
Yeah, it feels right. It's just, there's this weird offness to it.
Everyone focuses on nostalgia and doesn't seem to notice the other aspect of this film. But we should first just probably address what is so weird, or at least what we find so weird about this film.
Mm-hmm. It's the alien. It is the alien. Take the alien out of this movie, and you could have just about any other 80s, 70s, or even 90s kids movie about just a wacky adventure with some strange, maybe we don't talk about that, going on in the background.
Yeah.
But the alien adds an even stranger aspect to it. He is a potato. He is just a potato. He's just a potato. The big puppet's just a potato. I don't care what anyone says. That is a potato. So the alien is bad.
Yes.
Like everyone's like, oh, E.T., love E.T. No, he's like a parasite.
And there's some sort of attempt at an argument that this is a symbiotic relationship. And that would have been okay. This is not that, though. This is parasitical.
Yeah, because a symbiotic relationship is two things that live off of each other to survive.
And they're mutually helpful to each other. They're not like one is, devastating the other.
Yeah.
This is different.
The alien has to literally die to separate himself from Elliot so that Elliot can keep living. This is not
a healthy nor a good thing. This would be the situation that we all fear about aliens.
Bad organism.
Right. The thing we're scared of with aliens is in a general sense, yes, it's like the fear of the other and and we don't know how to interact. But the actual logic fear here is the science side of this that says, what if they've got bad viruses, bacteria, they use us, they harvest us or something like that's the real fear. And this alien is doing that to this child. All the adults seem to just want to do the right thing, actually, which is this alien's killing this child. Let's get this alien away from this child. It seems like the right thing to do, actually. And that's the bad guy side of this movie, is the adult. So I'm like, I don't... Someone should be saving Elliot from this alien. I think that's why there is the government in the film in the first place. Like, we know at some level someone should be saving Elliot.
Yeah. And it's nobody. Nobody saved Elliot.
No.
Elliot didn't... It's not even like Elliot was the one to overcome the... No.
It's just like a happenstance.
Maybe that's why it's so uncomfortable.
Because
it's a situation we're just watching of someone who's in desperate need of help and rescue, and no one ever gives them that. That could be it.
I'm very frustrated by that message, though, because, and it's not to say that there isn't some, kernel of truth in the, like, issues within single parenthood, but the suggestion that Elliot needs saving and there's no one to save him even though he has a parent, how much do we need to lambast against single parents here? Early 80s. These women are finally asserting themselves and having the means to do so. Like, the 80s is really the beginning of, like, I can be a single parent and make this work and it'll be okay and everything will function and whatever.
She's a single mom. Her husband has gone to Mexico with a lady that she didn't even know her children told her.
And he keeps calling her, by the way.
And he keeps calling her back.
Stop.
And when she answers, she's like so happy to see. It's like, that's just,
This is like a really raw moment in this woman's life, by the way. It's also very much like, we're supposed to go, she's not paying attention. In the scene where she's putting away the groceries, she literally doesn't even notice an alien scurrying around by her feet, right? Because she's so overwhelmed with her life that she can't see it. And because she can't see all this stuff then happens to Elliot. And I'm like, I don't like it.
No, it's a bad message. It's like, a bad message.
And I don't know if it's just like, because it's the 80s or what exactly compels them to do it this way. She's trying so hard.
She's trying so hard.
She's just trying to keep it together, and this film doesn't give her any breaks whatsoever. It just makes a joke out of her situation.
In every other kind of movie where the main character is the younger sibling that's a boy, and there's an older sibling that's a boy, that older sibling is a bully, a straight up psychopath, to use the term lightly, or just a mean son of a gun. But in this movie, yeah, he's a bit of a ruffian with his little brother, but he's like, but not normal levels of older brother, younger siblings. And also, he's very responsible because he kind of understands what his mom's going through, so he's trying to take some of her load off. I am here for Mikey. Mikey is the best character.
And his friend group, the Stranger Things friend group that he has.
They played D&D, which, yes. I've consulted the tomes, and I believe that he failed a saving throw in a dungeon they were in, and his character died. One of his characters was an undead sorcerer of some type, and that's the best I can do. There was a lot of noise happening while that was happening.
So what I'm trying to say is, this movie doesn't give this child any parents. It just refuses to give them parents, which I guess, yes, there were a lot of latchkey kids in the 80s, which these kids are kind of latchkey-ish. When the parent works and so they get off the bus and they have keys to their own house.
Oh, yeah. Latchkey. Got it.
There you go, for those generations that also don't know what that term means. It's normal-ish. The 80s was the decade where we both experimented with latchkey kids and then simultaneously realized that actually also kids need supervision.
Keys man, Jingle Keys, he is faceless. He is the faceless government until he enters the home.
The mom, she's kind of failing, right? And then you're like, well, so then where's the substitute parent who can take over and not fail them? And the government comes in as Mr. Jingle Keys. He can't do it either. So somewhere in this film, we've got some sort of a storyline where it's saying, if your parent fails you, the government's going to fail you too. Okay.
Thanks, 80s. Jesus.
And his invasion, by the way, totally impotent. They do all these science-y things. Science-y words. So many. To no use. And it does nothing. It's just an obstacle for these children to evade.
In a very funny way, they drag some men in a tube down a road for a very long time. Stop. Oh, it's good. You know how, like, when there's, like, a hazardous situation, you're supposed to wear a special suit to keep you from getting infected? What if And now hear me out, other people helping me direct this movie because I am Spielberg. What if instead of a hazmat suit, we used just an astronaut suit and made a really weird scene? Why?
They wear hazmat suits later.
They wear hazmat suits later. Spacesuit?
It's just a space from like a NASA spacesuit.
Yeah, it's just
a round.
For like 5 seconds, I thought Vader was actually there.
We've been talking about the 80s. Apparently, we're coming down hard on the 80s. It's okay. No other decade has done better. The 80s just did it in their own way. That's all. That's all we're having to say. It's not that the 90s was better or the 2000s was better or anything like that. Don't get me wrong.
2010s.
All the things have been problematic in their own way. Mm-hmm. The 80s was just problematic in this way. The 80s tried really hard not to think about things.
Yeah.
This is kind of an overstatement. Mm-hmm. It's kind of a generalization. Mm-hmm. It's also kind of true.
Mm-hmm. At one point in the movie, Elliot's gone missing. The mom does possibly the only responsible thing she does in the entire movie, which is so sad. She calls a police officer to her house to tell them that her son's gone missing. And it's incredibly realistic because
that was the big thing that was happening in the 80s. The 80s was the decade where they discovered that people stole children. They did that before the 80s. But there is more media coverage of children abductions starting in the 80s. But this is early 80s. This is 82.
And we don't want to talk about it yet.
We don't want to get into that. The film could have not included that in this. Mm-hmm. And the film chose to include that.
But not go anywhere with it.
No, just add it in to make you feel nostalgic. Uncomfortable. To make you feel uncomfortable. Yeah. That's the actual answer.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You're not nostalgic for the child abductions. You were just made uncomfortable by this realization.
There's that, and then there's also the government's watching you in your home. But let's not truly kind of look at that. I mean, like, obviously in the movie we are seeing that blatantly, but we're not actually...
And again, the 80s is primed to sort of just kind of laugh at this as a joke and not really think about the serious implications of it.
And that's just a couple examples of weird things that this movie doesn't want to talk about. Wants you to see it, but not talk about it. In every alien movie,
yes,
there's this aspect of fear with the alien, mm-hmm. and for some unknown reason, this movie doesn't have that.
That's a misplaced trust. Mm-hmm. Just like how the misplaced trust of our neighborhood is safe. We don't have to worry about abductions. Or our government looks out for us. If we get in trouble, they'll solve things for us. Or I have a right to privacy. No one will come invade my house. Or the list goes on. Do you want to say it? Do you want me to say it?
Who is this movie for? Like, genuinely, who is this movie for? It's not for the parents, because they'll watch the movie and they'll see the struggling mom and be uncomfortable.
Right.
It's not for the little baby children like the youngest sister, because they're baby children and won't understand anything. It's not for the preteens/teens like Mikey, because they are not the main characters, so they're not going to care. Sorry, that's just how they are. Is it for Elliot age? Is it for 7 to 9-year-olds?
I will say this. For the 7 to 9-year-old group, the bad guy is Mr. Jingle Keys. Which, I mean, that does sound like the bad guy for a 7 to 9-year-old film.
Yeah.
But...
Okay, but the boy and his dog trope is kids that age. Yes. And they gotta beat the bad guy because he's the bad corporation.
If it's a boy and his dog, there's a lot of scenes where the dog leaves him and abandons him. That's not comforting or good for a kid that age either.
No.
This alien abandons this child in a forest. This is not a dog who cares for its boy.
Mm-mm. For a movie that is supposedly for that age range, the kid would be one-upping the adults. That does not happen.
Mm-mm.
This movie's not for that age range.
Mm-mm.
I mean, it probably actually truly is.
It probably is.
But story-wise, it's not. Who is this movie for? Is it for potato aliens? Is this movie made specifically only for potato aliens?
Again, it seems like we're coming down really hard on this film. We're actually not coming down super hard on this film. What we're actually doing is just pointing out things that for some reason we don't hear anybody else talking about. This is a beloved film.
Yeah.
We know.
Yeah.
And
it's a good film.
It's a good film. It's just that... Why is it weird?
Why is it weird? It's a good film. I'm not questioning that. I'm just questioning, like, everything else. If that makes sense. Why?
Should we list the whys?
Yes.
Okay, let's go through them, shall we?
1. Papa Umamau.
No. I know. It seems like But this is what Spielberg does with conversations, no? Yes, it is.
Jaws came out before this, yeah.
But this is different.
No, yeah, no.
This is... Okay.
It's chatter. It's not conversations happening over each other like Jaws. No. It's chatter.
It's nonsense. It's like someone started to recite the Jabberwocky poem in the middle of the D&D game. Yes. They just start saying Papa Oomau Mau over and over.
Number 2. I'm not going in order of the movie, by the way, because that's ridiculous. Number 2, the frog kissing scene. No one kisses a frog in the scene. There's a kiss and there's frogs. It's while he's drunk, while the alien's drunk, while they're drunk, both of them. Mm-hmm. So many frogs. Why are we having a live frog
dissection?
Why are we killing frogs on screen?
Well, we can't, so we have to do something different. But
they put the things in the frog jar, and then they close the jar, and the teacher is like, don't worry, the frogs won't feel anything. They'll just die. Did you hear me? I said they'll just die.
Because it's a childhood experience. And it was. Everyone had to do dissections in science class at a certain point. But it's weird. And it's like anti-establishment rhetoric from a kid, but with frogs, but then a kid kissing love scene, but then what?
She's not brought up. She's never brought up in the movie again. This supposed crush he has on this girl that's apparently really big in his life. That's not brought up. That's not important. That's not important. We're gonna set the frogs free. He's gonna push a kid to the ground and stand on him to kiss the tall girl. That was 2. 3. It's the astronaut.
You mean just the randomness of ding dong, it's NASA. Just coming back in, and it's maybe for somebody to like have a good time and be like, but space, folks, space.
Full spacesuit.
I don't, it's random.
Why did the one come through the window in the spacesuit?
They're coming for you. What?
Is this a Doctor Who episode? What's happening? 4. Why does the little girl watch the TV? Why did we have to focus on the little girl watching Sesame Street, I think?
Whatever. They were just reciting, like, word sounds.
Yes, she was reciting word sounds back at the TV, as a child would do.
Yeah.
Why did we have to focus on that for so long?
We stayed there. And the thing is, this is extra weird. They're all strange, and they're all a bit random, but this reminds me of the Papa Oomau Mau, where it's like, I don't even know what's happening anymore on screen.
No idea.
It's not that it's mind-boggling, like I don't get it. I'm being shown this, and I feel like there's something here. And then the more that I dig deeper, the more I realize there is nothing here.
When Mikey goes to sleep.
See, I told you were missing one.
Number 5.
Are we at 5?
Number 5.
Are we at 6?
Mikey, while his brother is downstairs being
Saved? Killed?
Separated?
While the alien is dying.
Experiment? The government's in his house.
Yes.
They have the alien and Elliot sitting next to each other. Tables. Words. You see how upset I am? Words. Uh-huh. They're on tables next to each other.
You're doing a little bit of this again.
Aliens. So the government's downstairs with Elliot and the alien. I was gonna say robot. Wow. And Mikey goes upstairs. I don't know, to chill out. Who knows? He leaves the scene. Maybe it's a bit much. You know what? It is a bit much. I understand it, and
that's fine.
He can go take a break. Why did he go into his younger sibling's shared closet, and just like fall asleep on a whole bunch of teddy bears? He has a room, supposedly, that he can sleep in. Why did he go in the closet to fall asleep?
I mean,
why did we focus on it for so long?
So long, that's the thing. It's not that my brain's like, I kind of get it. Like, that's where they kept their alien pet. So he's being all like, I miss my alien pet / brother.
Or he's scared for his brother, so he wants to be in an area that he's close, that he knows his brother's.
Right, and like that reminds him of his brother.
Sure, yeah,
or it's
fine, whatever.
Or we're even going like it's instinctual, he wants to be in a small enclosed space.
Yeah, whatever. He can find his comfort wherever. Why do we focus on it for so long, Spielberg?
Why do we stay there?
Why do we watch him for so long, Spielberg?
Surrounded by these very creepy stuffed animals just like piled on him and piled around him, and it's just...
Oh, I got another one. 6. I know we disguised the alien later in the movie as a ghost to get him out of the house while it's Halloween, and that's, clever
Funny.
trick for kids, whatever. Why did we dress him up earlier? I know a little girl wants to dress up the thing that's in front. Why did the alien allow this little girl to put clothes on him and a wig and a hat?
That's just for the funnies. That's just like standing on the frogs. There's just no rhyme or reason for it, but it's just for the frogs.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, E.T. never looked better. Like, just
keep the wig on, E.T. It's a good look.
slay, queen, slay. But besides that,
Yeah. I don't.
Why did that happen?
It's just children. Look what children do to their pets.
yeah, that's about it.
No answers. There's a lot of superfluous nonsense. And I don't mean nonsense like don't pay attention to it. We pay too much attention to it. And so the question is, why do we pay attention to it? And if there is no answer as to why we're paying attention to it, then the other question is, what is it doing for us? And the answers that I can only come up with, the only thing I've got going for me when I watch this film, when I really think about it, what's going on, and the reason it's so uncomfortable, I guess it has to do with postmodernism. Cat, friend, I'm right here. Come here. Postmodernism is like this. The term of postmodern first came from Jean-François Lyotard's La Condition Postmoderne in 1979, where he explores language games, finally arriving at the idea that we can question the legitimacy of knowledge itself, saying that the state of knowledge makes no claim to being original or even true. Lyotard arrives at a conclusion that says, because of the compartmentalization of knowledge, that we do not see the grand narratives when we talk about different disciplines like science, philosophy, and art. He says, lamenting the loss of meaning in postmodernity boils down to mourning the fact that knowledge is no longer principally narrative. In this loss of a grand or meta-narrative, our subjectivity becomes fragmentary. Basically, we experience life as singular moments that do not lead to a larger picture. In E.T., we see a particular kind of postmodern approach. The film, in deploying uncomfortable, narrative-free moments, deploys the white noise effect of the postmodern condition. White Noise, a novel by Don DeLillo published 3 years after E.T. comes out, is classically identified as one of the major postmodern literary works. Particularly, the novel works to articulate the disparate unconnectedness of the information overload in contemporary America. The result of this is that the things and events we encounter within the novel feel like the fuzzy white noise of a television static, a constant buzz of information with no meaning beneath it. For E.T., whether intentional or not, we see a similar white noise effect. Frank P. Tomasulo argues that we see postmodernism in E.T. through the effects of pastiche. Like parody, postmodern pastiche is a type of stylistic imitation or illusion. While, as Tomasulo notes, E.T. is rife with allusions to previous and contemporary works such as The Wizard of Oz, Raiders of the Lost Ark, and Jaws, there is another marked postmodern intrusion within the film. In the uncomfortable, unconnected, relatively meaningless drawn-out scenes that are interspersed regularly within the film, we experience the postmodern condition. Many of these scenes deploy overly long scenarios that catalog the overwhelmingness of pop culture and consumerism, all translating to a kind of white noise. The irony of this postmodernism is that a typical boy and his dog, childhood, or Bildungsroman narrative engages in some kind of moralistic storytelling element. We learn a lesson, we understand a deeper truth, or find the interconnectedness of some universal experience that we all share. Rather, E.T. as a film, instead of resolving into clearly defined meanings, chooses to have characters that are left in the lurch, having no better resolved any personal issues than when we started, or found more profound understandings of themselves or others. We are left with a surface attachment. The boy and his alien like each other, and the alien depended upon the boy, but everything ends, and we have no suggestion that Elliot's life or that of his family's is any better off than where they were before the alien invasion occurred. Instead, we experience an endless array of meaningless interactions that leave all of us feeling adrift in the white noise of the 80s nostalgia.
Boy Squad, right?
Boy Squad on the bikes?
Yeah, they are great.
They can jump, by the way.
Those are BMX people.
Those are just adults on bikes. But yeah.
But they're funny. They are a good crew. Literally, their friend like called them up and said, "Hey, I need you to come on your bikes. We need to distract the government people who are trying to steal my brother, also an alien." And they were like, "You got it." So, that was E.T.
Yes.
That is the most you'll get out of us from E.T. E.T. 1982.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I remember it. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Yes. That was the movie.
Yes, it was.
Okay. A lot. A lot.
And if you need a recap of how the sequence of the movie works, don't look at us.
No.
Because we did everything out of order just now.
Yeah. I mean, if you're this far into our channel and watching our videos, you should know by now we are not a movie review channel.
No.
We're just here to talk about what the movies mean.
What they do for us.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like trees and ETs with the little white hood and the basket and the blockade by the police. I had a friend that lived on that street. I would go down that street to go to his house like every time, and I'd be like, I think this is the ET place because I'd never seen it. And then watching this movie, I went, "That's my friend's house."
Yeah. It was like half built at the point, though, right? Yeah.
No.
No, it was one of the fuller ones. No, okay,
Right.
This isn't the half built.
Yeah.
This is the...
Gotcha.
Gotcha.
No. But still, as a keeper of lore, this messed me up.